We are the Real Kyper and Bourne Show on the eve of the 2024 Stanley Cup playoffs. Wow. Where there's a dress code in effect.
Yes, there is.
There is. On late notice. Good job, you guys. Glad everybody's aboard wherever you're watching, listening. Sportsnet 590, Sportsnet 360, and Sportsnet Plus from 4 to 6 p.m. When you don't catch us live, download us wherever you get your pod and text us at 590 590s. This is also Off the Rails Friday, which means Doug MacLean's off strike.
Oh, we got him back.
I think we got him back.
Ooh.
I cannot confirm
You met his demands?
or deny,
I love listening to you when I'm on.
He's back.
but there's a sense that Doug MacLean will make an appearance today at the top of the hour. In the meantime, we've got Stanley Cup playoffs on the eve. We'll welcome in Wendel Clark.
Ooh.
If there's anybody that knows what this time of the year is all about, it's Wendel Clark. In
What
the
a
meantime, how you guys feeling?
You know what? I'm going to go to Sammy first on that.
First of all, I feel stupid in this jacket.
Okay, well, what's going on?
I mean, it's like a 3-person hand-me-down to me because I left my house too early today. I get here too early because I was too juiced up. But I'm wearing a jacket that's a little too small, but looking good.
You do look good.
Thanks.
Yes.
That guy in a little that guy in a little
Very well done.
He's trying to look like he's bulky.
Yeah. But I will be honest, I am feeling incredibly nervous today. And I felt nervous before the show, which is something I haven't felt since day one of this on TV. And today I walked in here and I was like, I am really nervous. And I'm feeling, I got the playoff pit in my stomach. It's Go Leaf Go season. It's car flag season, baby. It's time. I'm nervous.
Feels good.
The Bruins.
Feels good. Feels like living a little bit.
Are you feeling a little better than, like, is giving up 11 goals in the state of Florida a couple of days ago a thing of the past for you? Have you moved off of that?
At least they only gave up 11 goals in the 2 prior to that as well.
If you're watching on Sportsnet or YouTube, wherever you want to watch this after, this is me turning the page, boys.
You are.
I'm turning the page. It's playoff time, baby. Those 2 games never happened. Sheldon all he was doing was watching tape in between
Playing
periods of the
possum.
Bruins. No one
let's move
cares.
on.
Never happened.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's
All right.
go.
Let's go to the news of the day, shall we? Should we talk about what's going on with the lineup, or do you want to tell me how you're feeling?
No, I'm good. Just you still look good though, Sam. I
Thank
want to
you.
tell
You
you
do.
that.
You're looking
And if
good.
by chance,
I got a haircut today, too.
if
Yeah.
with your haircut and the jacket, if the Leafs go, if by Monday they're up 1-0,
Wearing the exact same thing.
exact.
I'm wearing this jacket every day until the Leafs lose.
guy in a little
Like,
Okay.
That is now a thing.
Fair enough.
I'm not lying. I will wear this every day.
Spring is in the air. Stanley Cup fever is in the air. And JB, where do you want to start here in terms of this key matchup? If I'm not mistaken, this is the 17th time the Leafs and the Bruins will play in their history.
Mm-hmm.
But like maybe the 5th in the last 12 years, which is a pretty incredible short run here.
Mm-hmm.
Is everybody ready for another one of these?
Yeah, I mean, you got to love it, right? I mean, this is a great foe. This is an original 6 opponent. There's history. There's just a lot to love in terms of getting excited about the matchup. So I'm fired up there.
Totally.
Totally thrilled about
Is
that.
this part of your nerves
Yes.
that you have to go into a place where there's not easy access for like 5,000 Leaf fans to get to, like there would have been in Florida?
I think at this point with this, I am in a good place with the Bruins in terms of playing them because, I mean, you're already 0-4 in the last series. Like, 0-5, what a huge difference that is. It's
right.
To me, there's a mental part of this. It's like, well, for the fans, you're expecting them to lose, so if they beat them, what a pleasant surprise. Like, it's a very interesting spot for
You're
the Leaf
Cooper.
fans
You're trying
to
to
be.
frame it as we're the underdogs here. We're just happy to contend with
Well,
these
they're
guys.
obviously the underdogs, yeah. But no, it's part of it is that I hate that building. Hate watching games there.
We will get to a ton of Kypers Clippers in the next little while or throughout the series, but our boy Sammy here has already declared Jim Montgomery not in the same class as a Paul Maurice or a John Cooper.
I think if you went league wide, those guys are 1-2 for coach clips.
I would say that I don't know how it's going to play out as the series goes on. I'd say that Sheldon was pretty close to the vest today, which is extremely unlike him, as we know. And Jim Montgomery was the same, pretty close to the vest. But, as the series goes on, these guys tend to use the media a little bit more as a tool in terms of getting more calls potentially, or however they want to call it, a player or somebody on the other side. So we'll see how it progresses. But, yeah, he's not exactly Cooper or Maurice. Let's just say that.
Yeah. So let's start with who's going to play for the Toronto Maple Leafs on the weekend. We have some updates, but it sounds like, they have updates. We are being denied updates mostly. Is that the state of affairs with Sheldon? That fair to say?
Well, the big development today from practice is that William Nylander was absent from the skate.
Yeah,
as well as Bobby McMahon, who was hurt in the game against Detroit, and we kind of knew that he was on the fence to play. But Willie not being there is a big surprise to everybody. And the coach addressed that absence. If you want to hear that, I think it's clip number one.
Just kept him off the ice today, and both he and Bobby McMahon both stayed off the ice today, but both are possibilities for tomorrow. And that's it. I mean, Tree's made it pretty clear to me there's not going to be any daily injury updates or anything like that. Our guys are available, and that's it.
So it's an injury versus an illness kind of situation?
Like I said,
Okay.
you guys are available. That's all you're going to get.
Don't you dare ask one more question.
You follow up with me.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
No. I shouldn't.
Mouth shut.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's, a little page out of John Cooper's book. In past years, we're not going to say who's available. We don't know.
Could this just have been a mental break for Willie? Here's a guy that the storyline of 100 points got buried over Austin's chase for 70, but it hasn't been a good stretch for him. And could this have been nothing more than just a one-day mental break here? Because I got to be honest with you, I don't see Willie in game one. I'm wondering, what is going on here? How does a guy finish the game and there's no sense of anything, and then game one he doesn't show up? Right. What is going on here?
No, that's a really a good point, which really, Kyper, just reinforces that he's gonna play. He finished the last game. It seems like a wild stretch to say that he's then not going to play in playoffs. So I think you can count on Nylander. McMahon, I'm less sure about. You've been less sure about his availability.
I don't expect McMahon to play tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay. No, here's a guy that there was, if you're going to use, what was the term they used? Probable, or what was the term? Available, right? You would have used it in Florida. To not use available, possibly available during those two games, and then throw him in game one, to me makes no sense. Whatever is ailing, whatever is bothering him enough where you definitively say he was no good to go Wednesday or Thursday, makes me think, why are you going to push it or force it right into game one?
Well, don't you think, though, that if he was close to coming back, that it would make sense to say, okay, well, let's skip these two games and make sure he's good for game one?
My sense is if it was bothering him Wednesday, Thursday, then give him Saturday and possibly Monday or the following week. Whatever was bothering him, whatever kept him out this week, didn't go away for tomorrow night.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
That I think it's much more significant than day to day. And there might be a chance that he doesn't play till later on in the series.
So with that, with McMahon out, that does open a door a little bit. So right now, the way the lines were today, Matthews is back with Bertuzzi and Domi. Marner and Tavares played with Matthew Nyes. I believe Robertson is a placeholder for Willie. So you're looking at Willie, Holmberg, and Yarncroc.
Yeah.
And then Dewar, Kampf, and Reeves.
That's your game one lineup.
That's your game one lineup right there.
Yeah. And I'm happy that Reeves is in a position where he looks and he's earned that spot to start game one.
Yeah.
He's got a forecheck. He's got people looking over their shoulder. That's what this time of year is all about. And he's earned that spot.
The other thing, too, is it's not like the Bruins are the fleetest of foot. You know, whether, you know, Pat Maroon's on that team or, you know, or Marchand isn't electric anymore, Zaka. Like, a lot of their guys are not the fastest guys. So I feel like Reeves is a pretty good fit in this matchup.
The other one I like, too, is Yarncroc with Willie on the third line. If we're going to spread the offense, right, with Matthews, Marner, and Willie, then you still have to give the freedom of Willie to go and do his thing. And Yarncroc is, I think, a good guy to cover up, to watch his back when he's cheating like a mother, you know what.
All Swedes, eh? They're the Swedish line of Willie, Holmberg, and Yarncroc. So that's a good line. I like that one. Then the big news on the back end, T.J. Brody is the odd man out.
He wouldn't confirm or deny when asked about what's happening with the decor. Like, he gave a short, to the point answer that's not even worth listening to. It was just basically like, it's playoff time. We're not decided on anything. But according to line rushes and according to practice, TJ Brody's going to be on the outside looking in starting game one.
Exact lineup we thought.
You don't throw him in when you've practiced with other guys. Like, what do you want to piss off?
You're
going to totally piss off guys now where you can't trust practicing the day before a game together. That's...
You saw this coming a long time ago. I think it was maybe a month ago. You're talking about Brody being a maybe in playoffs.
There was just not enough signs for me that his game was in a good place. And this one's kind of tricky for me because this is a guy that you were kind of counting on here.
Sure.
Like, he was supposed to be that guy that kind of was the buffer between your fourth, fifth, and sixth defenseman to Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everyone's comfortable with Riley and McCabe, but then it gets a little dicey for the Leafs.
Yeah.
Brody was supposed to be that kind of anchor. He's a $5 million guy. Like, you're starting the Stanley Cup playoffs with your $5 million defenseman in the stands.
I do have moments. So I have been fine with this lineup, but I do have moments where I'm like, is it super overthinking it to have like Lyubushkin over TJ Brody? Is that overthinking it? Is it Liljegren over Brody? Are we overthinking this? But I just think you have to put the contracts aside, Kip.
Yeah.
You can't. It doesn't matter.
It's not about it. It's just.
But the idea
it's the idea of the money.
Yeah.
The money that you wanted.
You've invested in the person.
You've invested in the person all along.
Yeah.
The money is now, it's just imbalances the feel of what you should have had going into game one. That's all.
The idea of a $5 million defenseman is that he's a good player and a good contributor and will be in your game one lineup heading into the playoffs, and he's not.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty big shot.
But I do think back to, an older generation where we didn't know what players earned. There was a pure meritocracy, and you say, who's playing the best, who makes the most sense? In that case, I don't know that Brody does, but the other thing I kind of think that just like peaks in my head a little bit is in the past at the trade deadline when they've added new players, it's been like it's the new players team. Like, you're talking about how do we get Ryan O'Reilly going and where do you put in, Achari and where, Shen is going to be a big part of this, rather than saying the core is the core here. And if you can fit in, great. But like everyone's like, well, you got to play Edmondson because you traded for him. It's like, no, you don't. He has to play his way into this lineup. I don't know why it's necessarily handed to guys. So,
well, they want Edmondson to
dummy people,
to butcher Pasternak.
Basically, he cross-checked Draisaitl and got himself a playoff.
But you need, as a management team, though, like, I get what you're saying, but if it doesn't end well, that stuff's coming back to the management side. You gave up draft picks for guys that didn't even play.
Yeah.
Like, that's, you want to cover yourself here, right?
But you know what else comes back to the management? Where you took out one of our guys who'd been there all year for a guy who stunk. Like, if you put in Edmondson, he's no good, it's going to come back too. So there's risks all around.
Yeah, but you might as well go down with the
guy you added.
The guy that you added, right?
Yeah.
That's the whole thing, is if you don't, then you look like you're second-guessing yourself before you've even you've had the outcome decide for you.
Yeah.
And that's not a good thing. That's not a good
As
look.
long as they're quick to go away from it if it doesn't work. As long as if at game 2,
Yeah.
Leafs lose 5-1, they go, okay, that didn't work. We got to do this better, different.
All right, speaking of the lines, you want to go to Keefe on Matthews and Marner separate?
He got asked, like, how hard is it to keep those guys apart? Basically was the question, and this was the answer.
Very easy. That decision was made weeks ago, and liked what we've seen from that, and liked the options that it gives our guys, and gives the rest of our lineup. So, yeah, it was quite easy.
You know, he offers stuff up that's so good for our show, but he just shouldn't. Like, why tell us it was made weeks ago? I love it. But that's great.
Well, and this really comes, for me, off the back of the work that Max Domi has put in to kind of change the perception, that first half perception, into a guy that can be looked upon as a guy that can hold his own with Austin Matthews. This is the real key here, is that if Max Domi can get off to a good start with Austin and have that depth spread out, it is for sure making the Toronto Maple Leafs a stronger hockey club.
It is. And what it does to me, so McAvoy and Lindholm have been paired up on the Boston side, and those two guys are far and away their best two defensemen. They play the most minutes, the toughest competition. They often anchor their own pairs. They've got them together, I assume, to shut down the guy who scored 69 goals this season. So that should free up Marner to drive a line, to beat Carlo and Grzelcyk, and have Tavares there with him, and hopefully Matthew Nyes too. So hoping it spreads the wealth and gives the Leafs a chance to get the depth scoring they haven't got in past years down the lineup.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say then, that pair is going to go right at 34.
Yeah.
So what does that leave? Zaka, Coyle to go up against Austin?
Yeah, good question. I got to believe Coyle, because you get Marchand and DeBrusque with Coyle, which to me, that's a pesky, got some skill in D. Would that make sense to you?
Yeah, I think it does. And I think we have seen that matchup during the regular season, which really sets up for me pretty good battle between Marchand and Domi. Like if Marchand's doing Marchand things out there, it's Max that will be in his face.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Which
I have a prediction. Marchand will in fact do Marchand things. That is my bold
but
prediction
if he's
for this
doing them
first
to
round.
Domi's like he's fine with playing like that,
It is, and as long as Max is smart to pick and choose his spots, and he cannot end up in the penalty box with an extra
Kadri
two.
either, with the.
You got to be able to be really smart here.
Yeah.
In terms of when to get into his face, when not to. If you can pull him off, take that trade all day long, Max and Brad in the penalty box together.
Yeah.
That's a win for the Leafs, but you can't go by yourself.
Yeah, I think that's a really, really salient point. That's an important point. Like, that is going to be a lot of jawing, and I think you would make that decision before the series. My junior hockey coach, we used to write the other team's lineup on the board, and you would circle the guys that you want to get in their ear and square the guys that were blockheads and you wanted to stay out of their ear. I'm sure they've decided how to handle Marchand ahead of time. Do we want to be in his ear or not? Domi will have to play it smart. It's going to be a good matchup to watch.
You want to get an overall feel of where Sheldon feels like the Leafs are?
Yes, I do.
All right, clip 2.
Feels good. Guys are excited. It's good to turn the page in the regular season. It was kind of dragging on there for a bit, but once you knew who you were playing, you're able to hone in on it a little bit more, and then the excitement builds that much more. From a player's perspective, coach's perspective, you're digging in on the preparation, and there's not a whole lot of time. Our schedule's been tight here, but you want to just drop the puck and get going. That's it's the most exciting time of the year.
I gotta ask you guys a question, because you talked about the penalties that you can't have Domi taking when he's out there against Marchand. You can't goad him into stuff. Where do you think the Bruins power play ranks in the league this year?
I think it's decent, isn't it? Top? No
idea.
14th in the league.
It's unusual.
So it's not the same unit that it's been, which it's clearly not like, oh yeah, they're going to suck at it in the playoffs. It's going to be good, but like I don't think it's what it was in years past, and that's something to me that's surprising when I looked at that it's down to 14th.
Yep.
Well, like,
Leafs are 7th, by the way,
outside
somehow.
Outside of Pasternak being a true superstar, like they got a lot of meat and potatoes in this lineup up front. And that's not to take away from Marchand and his ability to score, but Marchand as an offensive threat isn't Pasternak. He's not
No, he's Tavares.
Kucherov. He's not. He's Marchand.
Yeah, he had 60-some points, below a point per game.
And according to the daily face-off stuff with the Lions, and they're usually pretty up to date here, that Marchand is not on the first power play unit. So they're maybe doing for the two separate units here. They have Pat Maroon on the first power play unit apparently. So
Okay. And to your point, they finished 14th in the NHL in just total goals as well.
Yep.
So they're not. They're not the threat that you would have seen.
Which,
out of
if you're the Leafs and you're worried about your D and goaltending,
Florida, right?
that helps.
I mean, the great thing, like watching that Florida team play on what was that Tuesday night that they played them?
Wednesday.
Yeah.
No, Tuesday. No, it was Tuesday.
Yeah.
Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The Leafs did dodge that bullet because when they turned it up to 100%, that doesn't look like many teams in the league that can do that.
No.
But the consolation prize here is no treat. But the Bruins are not the Panthers. So I think that's something that if you're a Leaf fan, you can kind of be like, well, at least we dodged that bullet because it felt like Daryl Sutter, quote, waste 8 days with the Panthers.
Yeah, the Florida Panthers were also the league's best team in terms of goals against. They let in under 200 goals on the season. Boston top 5 as well, so still very good, but not quite Florida.
So we all are on agreement that, like, the Leafs, this is a definitive advantage going into this series. Is the Leaf forwards against the Boston Bruin forwards?
I think so.
Are we all together on that?
Yes, the Toronto Maple Leafs finished second in the NHL in goals this year, 298. They score a ton. Only
Zach Coyle, Morgan Geekie, but who's stopping Austin Matthews?
We do this every year where it's like, the Leafs forwards are the advantage, and then it's game 7 and Geekie's banging 2 in. It's just, you do this every year, and that's been the great torture of this Leafs team is that on paper, their forward group is excellent, but when it comes down to the big moments, that's when things get dicey. And that's where other teams' guys have risen to the occasion, like a passer.
We're not
No,
there
that's what
yet.
I'm saying,
Don't
though,
take us to game 7. Let's just take it into game
Kyper,
1.
You say it's an advantage, but
It is.
It clearly is an advantage, but
don't give me the butt right now. I don't need the butt right now.
We're laying out the pros and cons of the teams. This is a great offensive team.
Are we talking about the Leafs here?
No, you're talking about ghosts. You're not talking about reality.
You are.
It's not reality. It's not reality.
It is reality.
They score more than anyone in the league
is.
outside
It is.
Colorado.
Okay.
We're just going by the optics. We're going by what we've
What
seen.
should happen.
What should
before
happen.
the ghosts ruin things.
Okay. Yeah, on
Sammy.
paper, they're way better at forwards. On paper, 100% agree. Yep. Advantage Leafs.
Advantage Leafs.
For sure.
We got one green check.
Until
One.
the big.
Oh my God, are you just like?
What do you
You're
think?
damaged goods.
Yeah,
That's the only way
yeah,
I can describe you.
Yeah, I was totally unjustified here, boys. They've given us so much.
We're going to invoice you for this therapy later.
You just
Continue.
lose until you win, right? And that's what you're getting to.
The Chicago
Sammy.
Cubs won the championship 108 years later.
There's just every once in a while.
You got a grit. You don't believe anything. You anyways, let's go. Next thing.
Buddy, I believe the Leafs are better than the Boston Bruins up front.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's
fact.
That's it.
That's a fact.
That's what I'm going for.
Agree.
Okay. Defense, we probably would give the advantage to the Boston Bruins, but if Morgan can look like Morgan in the first round against Tampa Bay, where we saw the best hockey of his career, that would go a long way to balancing it a little bit. Agree or disagree?
It has to happen. It has to happen. Without playoff Morgan, you look at the Leafs decor, and it's just not.
They're in huge trouble without playoff Morgan.
Yeah, without playoff Morgan. He needs to be able to play 25 minutes, assuming it's in,
And
60-minute game.
And we've been in trouble before saying that he's not going to be able to flip the switch, so I believe he can, and I believe he will. But, boy, that game on Tuesday shook me a little bit. But, yeah, we turned the page on that. That didn't happen.
But Hampus Lindholm 2 years ago was like Norris conversation when he didn't have that season.
No, he did not. Absolutely not. So if that trend continues, can McCabe kind of balance out Lindholm a little bit?
I don't know.
Or is that a reach?
Well, I just think they're different style guys. But I mean, I was gonna in my mind, I think Lindholm is like a good puck mover and a good skater. In the end, I think McCabe ended up with 5 more goals than Lindholm and probably as many points. So yeah,
But as far as minute muncher,
he can do that.
A guy that can shut down and protect.
Yes.
Can he come
close? He can come close.
Okay, so what does that leave you with? Grzelcyk, Carlo,
Shattenkirk, Peak.
And Peak.
Shattenkirk is not good at this point. Has been a great career, but
third pair guy that can play secondary power play maybe, or power play in general.
Can make some plays. You can put him through the glass.
Right.
On the first power play unit.
First power play unit.
So, and then Grzelcyk. I like Grzelcyk,
I do
but
too.
I don't think he's a top 4.
No. I also like Carlo, but he doesn't have that kind of if he were a bit more physical, I'd like him even more. But yeah, they're fine. But I don't look at them compared to the Leafs guys and go, it's head and shoulders. The Bruins decor is better. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, it is.
It's better.
Okay.
But I don't think it's head and shoulders better.
I'm getting the sense that if you get Morgan last year, McCabe can hold his own, and then you just hope certain guys stay within their limits.
Yeah, Benoit's physical. Liljegren skates it out. There's...
It should be okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm in agreement on that.
Now.
Now we get to a duo that's been lights out for the last, few years, 3 years?
Vezina last year for Allmark, and Swayman will be on Vezina ballots this year.
So this is where
probably starts.
It's kind of important here on a Sammy start.
What do you need, Ilya's? At what number does Ilya Samsonov's save percentage have to be for them to win round 1?
Great question.
Is 900 enough?
No.
910.
He was an 899 in their win last year.
Yeah. Vasilevsky was a 740 last year, so that helped.
That's a great point. Was he that bad?
How many goals the Leafs going to average here?
It needs to be a lot, is your point?
4.
Seems unlikely.
Listen, I don't know if Samsonov has to stand on his head and do spins.
Yeah, but he can't be bad.
But he's got to be good, Sammy.
Mm-hmm.
What button do you push to make that happen? I guess a week with Curtis Stanford is the...
They back down to whatever gulag he was in with that time in the season, and you hope.
Let's go to Sheldon Keefe on Samsonov.
He's had a good season for us. He's in a good place, and anytime he has slipped up, he's bounced back. I think he's in a good place there. He's got lots of experience. We've got lots of depth in goal. Lots of good options for us, and we feel good about it. Waller hasn't played as much here in the last couple of weeks, but had his run before that and got some time in the net. And I think I had said a few weeks ago, our plan was, we didn't know how we'd end up there, but we thought it'd be sort of a split by the end, not necessarily rotating each game, but we ended up in the last 11 games there. I think we have 6 for Sammy and 5 for Joe. So you got good work for both guys, and then Jonesy gets in as well. And, we feel good about our group there.
Oh, my God. Don't start talking about good options already. We haven't even started.
I was
to be fair,
concerned about the phrase lots of depth. Do you mean more than Wool?
To be fair, Montgomery said the exact same thing. So if you want to play the second Montgomery clip, Derek, he said the exact same thing, basically.
We got 2 great goaltenders. Our entire group's very comfortable with either one. And, performance is going to dictate a lot of how we move forward.
So,
all right, can we also hear clip 1 on who's starting tomorrow so we talk about that guy?
Sure.
We have decided, but we're not sharing it with you guys.
Oh. Uh-oh. He's going to give us clips of that length all series?
It's got to be Swayman.
Yeah. Doesn't it?
Yeah.
All right. I mean, They are both very good goaltenders, right? It's there's no doubt that is a strength of the team. You kind of hope that what happened in playoffs to them last year. So they went Allmark all the way through to game 7, right? And then we're like, crap, we're gonna have to hit the emergency button. Like, are they gonna alternate these guys if things are going well? One of them were to have a shutout or one of them were to give up 6, did they just keep switching?
Allmark played the last 2 games of the season, by the way.
He did.
He did. Yeah.
Swayman was a
No,
9.
sorry, he didn't. I lied. He played the last game of the season.
How about this? Swayman played 44 games, 916. Allmark, 40 games,
That's incredible.
915.
That is.
Sick.
So that adds
That's-
up to 84, meaning there was some pull and someone went in, but almost a dead split and a 915 each.
Listen, it's anyone's guess based on Montgomery, but my gut says that they'll start Swayman first.
I have heard that from people that it feels like it's going to be Swayman.
Any huge advantage or disadvantage, bench boss?
It's a good question.
Don't know.
What is Montgomery's experience? Like, I know Sheldon Keefe now, I feel like has been through a number of rounds with this core and hopefully learned some lessons. And I, having worked with him, know he's a smart guy and not so stubborn. He wouldn't change things. So I'm confident in his ability. I don't know Montgomery's. He was in Dallas. I don't know if they went deep
Yeah,
at
but
all when he was there.
I
last
feel like
year.
I'm so much more familiar with Maurice and
Coop
Cooper
and all their
with the
style, yeah.
playoff stuff as opposed to Montgomery because it's been so long since the Leafs played and he wasn't the coach last time the Leafs played him. So
Was it Julianne when he was
no,
the-
it would have been the guy who I'm having a tough time, Vegas coach.
Oh, yeah, Cassidy.
Cassidy. Thank you. So, well, boys, what do we think?
Well,
What's your predictions?
yeah.
Oh, we do
wait,
that
We
wait.
now?
got, we got,
Well, we
well,
gotta
we
get to
got
Wendell
Wendell
here in a
coming up,
sec.
or you want to save him towards the latter part of the hour?
Let's break, talk to Wendell, and then we'll do our
Let's
picks
just
after
make sure
Wendell.
to give him.
All right.
Okay.
People want to hear what's the call on the Real Kyper and Bourne show. But before that, we'll take a break and we'll welcome in one of the most popular Toronto Maple Leafs in history. Wendel Clark will join us, the legend. We'll get into the Leafs' chances of slaying the Dragon once and for all. And this year's team, how tough are they compared to years past? We'll get into that with Clarky when we return to the Real Kyper and Bourne show. Welcome back into the Real Kyper and Bourne show. As promised before the break, Toronto Maple Leaf legend Wendel Clark on the eve of the Stanley Cup playoffs. So let's welcome him in. Clarky, how's it going, pal?
Hey guys, how are you doing?
We're good.
How are you?
We're all good here. 24 hours until a little over 24 hours, we get it going here. Does it matter how many years have gone by since retirement? Is there something that gets the juices flowing this time of year for you?
Yeah, this is the one time we're always still excited. I think as ex-players, we don't miss training camp or the grind of the season or getting hurt. But first playoff game, that's fun no matter what. This is when the home building is the most fun and the road building hates you.
Wendell, how do you feel about the road building they're going to be going into and the draw they got here? Boston Bruins, that's a good old rival.
It's a great rival, and actually, I don't mind it. Both teams kind of limped the last couple of games. Looked like they're waiting for the playoffs to start as it was, and I like the situation that we're going into. Actually,
Well, it's interesting now because the last year, there's been a sense for Brad Treliving. You want it to get bigger, tougher, stronger. I think we can all be in agreement that that's happened here. How physical of a series do you expect? With the likes of Brad Marchand involved in all of this.
yeah. Well, he's old now. He's almost as old as you and I, Kyper. But the big thing, I think it's going to be less physical than if it was the Florida series. And the first game of any first round is nuts. You know what it looks like anyway, and it doesn't matter what series it is. And then from there, I think our key isn't. I think we've added toughness. We can initiate it a little bit now. We just don't have to react to it. But the big thing is for us to play patient. Our players that aren't the skill guys have to be patient and don't get out of position trying to force something to happen. Just let the game come to them, and we'll have the skill to outscore the other team by the end of every game.
Well, and this question is sort of related to that. How tough is it when you go into a playoff series and you're all amped up to run guys over and the intensity and all that? How tough is it to be composed within that? I think back to Kyle Clifford taking a major in game 1 or even Kadri, taking a suspension. Is it tough to sort of manage the emotions and still stay all jacked up?
Well, I think it's you want to be there, but it's everything within the rules, and the rules have gotten a little lighter than it was in the old days, obviously. But you're just if he doesn't have the puck, well, you can't follow through 4 strides later. An elbowing penalty, a high sticking penalty, those are all still in the game, so you can't do that. Really, it's just forecheck hard, play hard, finish your checks when the puck's there. Just don't get over aggressive on pinches and third guy not being in position because you're trying to force something to happen. Because in the playoffs, that's when the other team eats you alive, and you can't get that second and third goal because you can't donate goals in the playoffs.
Earlier in the show, we were talking about the thought that now Max Domi may be going up against a Brad Marchand or a Bertuzzi, and there's a lot more sandpaper in those guys than we've seen in years past, and that might come in handy against the Boston Bruins. But, yeah, it's been a while, Clarkie, but it feels like that epic scrap that you had with Marty McSorley for a lot of Leaf fans feel like yesterday. Can you take us a little bit into your decision to go after him at that time with so much on the line, including maybe getting thrown out or getting an extra penalty? Like what would Max and Tyler Bertuzzi be thinking about if they had to make a decision like you made against the LA Kings in the playoffs?
Well, I pretty much knew Marty was going to fight. I don't have to worry about him turning and skating away. He's when a guy's 5'10" skating up to 6'3", he's not skating away. But the big thing is just to play with great energy and those guys can, if they can play the way they did, like the way Bertuzzi played in Boston last year in traffic, and the way Domi was playing in Dallas. You're just playing with great energy and tenacity. That's more about the toughness in today's game. Is every shift you're playing with tenacity and puck battles, and you're in there grinding. And we want to initiate the grind on their team, on their defense, force bad passes because forcing them to do things in a hurry, not do the flybys and stuff like that.
Wendel, what would you say to Toronto Maple Leafs fans who believe in ghosts, who believe in curses and the jersey, and because it's the Leafs, they're going to get bad calls or bad luck, or it's not going to go their way? What are your thoughts on those vibes that some fans believe to be true?
Well, that's the fans. The fans to talk about, and the media to talk about. It creates attention and fun and anxiety in the series. This series, it's going to go back and forth 4 times. I bet, and no matter how long the series is, but it's something I think every player goes into it going, no, we're going to win this. That's our mindset. If you're not going in with that much confidence, then you're not going to win it anyway. The players have got it in their head that no, we're a better team. We're going to play harder and smarter, and we're going to come out winning. I'm hoping that's what our dressing room's thinking when they're going into this.
Joining us is Wendel Clark, Toronto Maple Leaf legend on the Real Kyper and Bourne show. Excited to start these Stanley Cup playoffs. Wendel, in terms of coaching staff, how does that role change from a regular season to the playoffs? This is another shot for Sheldon Keefe to take a talented lineup deep. What do you remember basically out of a guy like Pat Burns during your stretches here in terms of how they can truly make a difference during a playoff series?
They're going to have the game broken down. Every player is going to have a sheet of who they're playing against. They'll have the whole team, and then they'll have who they're playing against pretty much every shift until the coach starts juggling and rolling the dice when something has to happen mid-game. But really, he'll have them all prepared. The assistant coaches will break it down, which defensively and penalty killing and power play, they're all going to be on the same page. And getting everybody to buy in and understanding what their roles are. And then it's, when you're coaching, you're reading the game. No longer do all the numbers matter. Okay, over time, if we play this way, odds are we win because analytics tell us that. Well, come playoff time, you can throw a lot of analytics out the window because you're not going on an 80-game analytic. You're going on a 4-game, 7-game, 3-period. You as a coach, you might say, this isn't working. I have to change it for 1 period. It's not that you change the whole system. You might just change it for 1 period just to see how the other team reacts. And that's where the coaching will come in with his gut call and what he sees out of his team and what the other team's doing.
When I look at your stats, you know, that 92-93 year, you're 39 points in 66 games. You go into playoffs, you're a point per game guy with 10 goals. What does it take for the best players to maintain or even increase their output in these situations where the other team is keying on you and being even harder on you?
Well, the easiest thing in that year was come playoff time after the halfway through the Detroit series, I got to start playing with Gilmore.
Oh, is that the secret?
so that Gilmore thing has a little bit to do with getting more points.
Okay.
But no, it's and points become harder to get. So you're playing in traffic. The players that want to, you don't have to be a tough guy running over guys if you don't play that way, but you have to want to go through traffic to get your goals, even if you're not a big guy. You know, Nicky Borshevsky scores in overtime because he's going through traffic to tip a shot in from Rouse. So it's about going through and hanging out in traffic because it's going to get tighter inside that. I call it the five of diamonds in front of the net. You have to want to play inside there, and on defensively, you got to keep everybody out of there. If we keep everybody out of the five of diamonds, nobody scores. They score one goal a game. If we don't get inside it, we don't score more than one goal a game. And really, the game is that simple. It doesn't matter the era, and it doesn't matter all the video and analytics. You break it right down. The shape of the building has never changed.
So with you joining Gilmore, is it inevitable that we'll see Marner back with Matthews at some point?
I think you're going to see a lot of it, like a little bit. Dougie, come playoff time with us, he ended up playing centering Davey Anderchuk and Borchevsky, and then he come and centered the third line with myself and either Foligno or Robbie Pearson or Glenn Anderson. So Dougie started double shifting to have offense on two lines. And then basically our one centerman didn't play that much. And I think with Marner, I think you're going to, because of the injury and the timing of when it happened and how good Domi did when he went in there, I think he's got an element there as a coach that he can change things up a bit because the team has played that way now. So I think it's a bonus. He can throw a couple different scenarios. Your harder team to check because now you can throw. You got Willie Nylander, who's been our best forward the last three playoffs. He can carry a line himself. Then you got Tavares playing another line. You got Matthews, and so you can throw more than one line out. So they have to worry about checking more than one line.
How do you feel about the additions they made, bringing in Lyubushkin and Edmondson, a couple of big bodies? Is that going to be the difference in protecting a guy like Samsonov, maybe, who numbers not great this year, but has shown stretches of being able to be a good NHL goalie?
Yeah, no, I like it. I think they're going to be harder on the forwards when they're doing cycling our end. I'm hoping that's one of the reasons why they're here, that you hit and pin and check and hold down and be hard on the other forwards. And we just got to make sure we don't play high risk. I think if your name isn't Riley, you're not pinching past the hash marks on a regular basis. That's I need to make sure that our end is. I don't care what our system is. Our end is looked after first because you can't allow come playoff time, a 1-0 hockey game with 30 seconds left in the first period and you allow a 2-on-1 because somebody pinched and now it's 1-1 after one. And you always want to lead if you can take it in. So it's really situational and that's why I say for us to play hard and be patient, our skill will sooner or later take over. We're not going to score 5-6 goals every game, but with the lineup we got, we are going to get 2 or 3 every game.
Have you got your car flag ready?
It's a long. It gets ripped up. I got a 2-hour drive before I get to the game. So it'll be ripped up before I get there.
Well, we can't wait for it all to get started, Clarky, and we'll come back to you at some point. Hopefully it's a great deep run for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and we'll have you on a couple more times. Thanks for doing this, pal.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for your time.
Care.
Appreciate it.
See, I love that thought of either Mitch or Matthews jumping on a different line and doubling up. That's the one thing I think he has not done that in the past.
Steal a shift or two.
Go big or go home with these guys, right? I think he's double shifted Nylander more than Matthews or Marner than I can remember in the last few years. And I'm like, listen,
you're right.
The guy that should be double shifting to me is Marner above everybody else. That's That's just my opinion.
No, I don't think it's a bad opinion. Can we sneak Marner out there with the fourth line? Whatever. Just give him another couple of reps.
And especially with what Wendel said, he's been off for a month.
You know what really resonated with me was the 5 of diamond stuff. And just if they get inside, they'll score. If they don't, they won't. It's not that hard, and that's why you have Edmondson, the long stick, and that's why you have Lyubushkin, and it's playoffs.
Size of the rink hasn't changed.
It's a good line.
All right. You want to go first?
Sure. So it's tough on a show like this because I've never been the homer guy, but I am taking the Leafs, and I'm taking them in 6.
I took the Leafs in 7.
Do it.
It's okay.
It's the Bruins in 7.
It's Bruins in 7.
Yeah.
If they go to Boston in that building, game 7,
and
it's a
there's
fair pick.
only one reason why, because we've kind of noted where we think the strength and weaknesses are. And I don't blame you, but going into game 1, there's a distinct advantage for the Boston Bruins over the Toronto Maple Leafs. One word: culture.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's it. They've had a better culture, and the Toronto Maple Leafs haven't. But this needs to be the spring where that changes for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah. And you know what? The Bruins have gotten away with some blown playoffs along the way that people don't. You've probably noticed.
Well, they would be talked about like the Leafs if they didn't get that one in 2010.
Right.
They've had some of the most all-time meltdowns. I mean, they blew that series lead to the Flyers. They're down 3-0. They were literally the highest point total in the history of the league last year, who lost to an 8 seed. They lost in Game 7 in their own building twice, I believe, in the Stanley Cup final. They've had some horrific blown
So my
leads.
point is you can get in their ears.
Sure.
They're not above the, oh, God, not this again feeling either.
Yeah.
It's just,
and you could play that card if you were literally any other franchise.
You're right. You're right. You can't. It's tough as the Leafs.
And I think it's going to be an excellent series, and I think it's going to be paper thin, super tight. But when it comes down to it, it's going to go 7 games, and the 7th game of the series is at the TD Garden, and I don't think the Leafs can win that game. I just don't.
I saw somewhere, I think it might have been the Athletic,
Leafs
the percentage chance or whatever that the series goes 7 is like 30 plus, like 32, 33% that it goes 7 games, which is insanely high.
Yeah, it is really high.
I mean, their goal differential between the two teams is 1 on the year.
But you got to assume that, like, after all these disappointments, that this is the peak. This is the star players in their prime. This is their time.
So you say Leafs in 7?
Yeah.
Leafs in 6.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the guy that says Bruins in 7.
Yes.
Which we really wouldn't have thought.
Rude. I feel like an idiot, and I feel mean.
It's okay.
You get to be right. You have the chance to be right on
I'm
the
not
show.
switching up my pick, but I feel bad. Like, I want them to win, but I just can't sit here on my platform.
It's
which
okay.
I know.
You're
Now I feel
jaded.
bad. I am.
And you're damaged goods. We get it.
This jacket's going to be damaged goods if I move too
Win or
quick.
lose, you have to live with yourself, and that's
Yeah.
punishment enough sometimes.
Boys, this is going to be fun.
Buddy, let's go. I know. I can't believe it's not tonight.
It's going to be really exciting. And, we come in here on Monday talking about game 1, teeing up game
With
2.
game 2 on the way.
Like, it's just, we're right into it. The playoffs are all still like this weekend.
Happens fast.
This weekend is just a cornucopia of sports action.
Word.
Like, just, you got the
Overflowing.
NHL playoffs kicking up. You got the NBA playoffs kicking up. You got the Jays. You got the golf. You got everything.
And you know what?
Good couch weekend. And I don't have
3
any kids,
Canadian
so I'm
teams
just feet
are
up.
favorites. Yeah. My kids are going to have a lot of iPad time this weekend.
All right, and we're only getting started on Off the Rails Friday because we got 7 more series that we got to touch on.
Oh, my God.
And
7?
we've got Doug MacLean at the top of the hour. He hasn't been on like forever. This is just like, hey, how are you? And he'll go on for 20 minutes.
It's the best.
Yeah, it'll be a nice break for
Turn
us.
the mic on.
All right, Doug MacLean when we return. The Real Kyper and Bourne Show. Do not go away. On the eve of the Stanley Cup playoffs, we welcome you into the Real Kyper and Bourne Show. We are live on Sportsnet 650 in Vancouver and Sportsnet 960 in Calgary. This hour, Real Kyper and Bourne, brought to you by Bet365. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, and a very excited Sammy McKee.
Well, when we're talking about other teams now, he'll be okay.
He'll be calm
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
and rational.
He's rational about the NHL.
The only question I ask is how rational our next guest will be. He hasn't been on this show since, I think, February.
He'll be calm.
Someone suggested maybe he was on strike, looking for more money out of the Real Kyper and Bourne Show. Let's welcome in former president, GM, star analyst at Sportsnet, author, Doug MacLean. Are you looking for more money out of the Real Kyper and Bourne show?
I'm not looking for more. I'm just looking for some.
What have you been up to these days? Like, where you been?
I've been involved in a lot of member guest tournaments and golf tournaments, and just trying to. We're only in Florida another month, so I'm just trying to wrap up. I got to get in some beach time and pickleball time and golf time. It has been hectic. I've been approached about writing another book. I'm sitting tight on that right now.
I'm telling you right now, we can't take it if you write another book.
Either can I.
Are you aware that the Stanley Cup playoffs are starting tomorrow?
Wow, I'm so excited. I am so excited about the playoffs coming. I'm so sick of the regular season. I can't wait for the playoffs to get started. I can't wait to see your Leafs, how they look. Borcheski, by the way. What's Wendel Clark talking about Borcheski for?
He
Do you know who the assistant GM was in Detroit when he scored that fluky tip-in goal?
Oh.
Like, seriously.
That one stung, didn't it?
Oh, I looked at Brian Murray. I said, I think we're in trouble.
You guys got fired after that, didn't you?
It hurt. Well, shortly after.
Okay, so where do you want to start? Let's start in Vancouver. Let's start with the season that we saw out of a team that we did not expect. And is there pressure right now to make short order out of the Nashville Predators?
Yeah, I think there is, and I'm not sure that's accurate. I mean, as good as we know Pettersson is, although since his contract he stumbled. Miller, we know he's had a great season. Besser, Hughes has been a horse. Demko has been terrific. Tocchet has taken them to a little different level. He's toughened them up. But hey, Nashville will not be easy, guys. I mean, we talk Hughes, we got to talk Yossi and McDonough as well, and we got Saros and Demko. I mean, look, I think it turns out to be a little better matchup than a lot of people think. I think a veteran team. I think O'Reilly going head to head with Pettersson will be a challenge. I mean, that Forsberg, that line is a good line. I think it's going to be a tough series. I really do. I mean, I'm picking Vancouver to win, but I think it's going to be a really hard-fought battle.
It had been a while for them since getting in the playoffs, so certainly, I guess, minimal pressure on the Canucks. It would be interesting. Let's say they do get by, Doug, and they get to the Edmonton Oilers. What are your thoughts on Edmonton heading into this postseason here? Like, LA's a pretty good draw for them. McDavid is, ready to win his first Stanley Cup. Are they Canada's best hope?
I like the Oilers. As I said on this show when they started 0-15, relax. They're going to make the playoffs. I think we have tape of that. Can you run it maybe? I mean, I said they would get in. You guys were all panicking. You had it was like
easy grapes.
A nightmare on Elm Street. But anyway, look, I like a lot of things about Edmonton, but they're a little bit like the Leafs. Their big boys have got to get it done and win. And I think, the way McDavid has played, he's a complete guy right now. Draisaitl, Hyman has been a nice addition. Their defense has improved since Koff has gone in there. Knobloch has helped. Skinner, to me, is the big question mark. I mean, look, I don't like LA's. I mean, I don't like LA's goaltending, to say the least. I mean, I love Cam Talbot a few years ago, but I don't think they're good enough. And the 1-3-1, like if Knobloch can't break down a 1-3-1 in 7 games, then all bets are off. I think Edmonton win the series fairly easily. I know Danault is a great checker. I know what's his name, the big guy they took 5th in the draft when I took Brule. What was his name? Kopitar. Yeah.
You've been trying really hard to forget that name. I know that.
So, look, I think Edmonton wins, and I think they win. I've got to believe it'll be 5 games, but I don't like picking games. I hate picking playoffs. As you know, when I was at Sportsnet, I probably ran 80% with my picks. But now that I'm away from it, I'm looking more at a 50-50 split here, you know.
Not that I'm going to make a big deal out of it, but you left a lot of your horses out in the last regular season game against Colorado, but you left Skinner in the net.
Yeah,
Right.
not a bright move. I didn't really like it. I couldn't figure it out for the life of me. But you know what? Skinner is showing he's a tough kid. He's shown me that since he came in a really difficult, challenging situation for 2 years now. And the kid actually played very well this year. And you know, you would hope he's playoff ready. That's still a question mark. Their depth scoring is still a question mark for me. If it's a really dogfight and if they can contain the big boys up front, which I don't think LA can, but they still have a challenge with depth scoring for me. I know Hendrick has helped, but I still don't know if they have enough in that third and fourth line to really be as they progress through the playoffs. But I've got them beating LA.
Well, let's just keep going on through these Canadian teams and keep. I know you're not a huge Picks fan, but the Winnipeg Jets get the Colorado Avalanche. Advantage in net. Other than that, not sure how you feel about things. The Jets going to get past Colorado.
Well, you know what? I was on a show on PEI this morning, and I picked the Jets to win this series, and I'm really nervous saying that. And Chris McFarland worked for me for 11 years. I think the world of him. I'm nervous about the way they're playing. I do not like their goaltending. But when you have the best centerman or one of the best centermen in hockey, and you've got, one of the best defensemen in the world, you should win. But typically going with that best centerman and best defenseman is a really top goaltender. And this guy has not been very good. I've never been a huge fan of his, hot and cold, even with the Rangers. I don't get it. Middlestat, to me, was not a good pickup. Maybe he'll shock me. Maybe he'll do something, but I didn't like that deal. You know what? The Jets, they're really well balanced. Hellebuck has been a force for them, but he hasn't had a lot of playoff success. We know that. But he's been MVP all year. Lowry is a horse. I love the kid. I love the way he plays. To me, he's a Selke contender. If he's not now, he should be eventually. I love what he brings to the game. Rick has done a good job. They've got good depth throughout the lineup. They've got good speed. I think Winnipeg's going to be a tough out, boys. And I know people will think I'm nuts, but I'm picking Winnipeg to win this series.
I think a lot of people are. And maybe it is the stretch that we saw out of Colorado. And to your point, like that Middlestat is not Naz Kadri. And at that point, how much weight is on McKinnon to go do McKinnon things every shift?
Yeah, and look, we love Rantanen. Landeskog is a major hole there. They tried to improve their blue line, with the Philly deal, but giving up Byram, I'm confused by that one. But anyway, look, I think Winnipeg. I would like to see them. I'd like to see them win. To me, Kevin Cheveldayoff is one of the most underrated GMs in the NHL. Besides that, he's a very good guy. He's a true hockey guy, and I love what he's endured there, and I love what he pulled off in making some really bold moves. So I'd like to see Chevy win.
We're joined with Doug MacLean, former NHL president, head coach, author, who also has made breaking news here. He will not write a second book, we hope.
No.
This is how you negotiate.
What?
No. I didn't say I wouldn't. I said I'm considering it. I've got offers.
Okay.
So when you have offers, you've got to consider things, especially when you're on fixed income. And you just have to be prepared.
All right. Who's prepared to be knocked out of the first round? Dallas or Vegas?
Well, I mean, Dallas have got to win this. Vegas, defending Stanley Cup champs, it's been a tough year. It's been a really tough year, injury-wise. We remember that blue line and how good they were and how big they were and how tough they were to play against last year. That big blue line has been banged up a lot this year. But, they'll be relatively healthy. Hurdle will be an interesting addition. But I just don't see it. I mean, Aiden Hill and Thompson have not been very good. They've been, I mean, we talked about it on this show numerous times, guys. They've not been good. So can they turn it around and get it going? I think Dallas are too deep. I think they've got some great veterans. What do they have? 10 guys with over 20 goals. They've got a quick blue line. And the goaltender is a really solid goaltender. So Dallas cannot lose this series. They cannot lose this series because if they do, they're going to be like a few other teams. They're going to have to make some changes and some big changes because this is a team that should be right there to contend for the Stanley Cup.
Is the fact that they're banged up enough to alleviate the pressure of not winning in Vegas? Because, come on, you traded for Noah Hannafin. You traded for the big guy Hurdle. Like,
Yeah,
so where's that pressure on Vegas?
Well, there's lots of pressure, and we know this owner. Well, we don't know him. We wish we did, but we don't know him, and we know what he demands. He demands wins, and they have been, without a doubt, the most successful franchise during their short time in the National Hockey League. It's been a model franchise. Now, people accuse him of certain things, but they've GM'd within the bylaws and within the CBA, so you can't blame them for that. The question is, I just don't think they're going to be playoff ready because of what went on all year. Can Stone come back and do what he did? Can Martinez come back? I mean, I don't even know. I mean, I just think that it's taken its toll. Marchessault, where's his head when he's reading after 40 goals that they may not be able to sign him because of cap issues next year? So where is it all mentally here? I know Cassidy's done a good job still, but they're a wild card, aren't they? So I don't see it. I see Winnipeg. I mean, I see Dallas beating them.
All right, so we've got you down for 4 predictions in the West. Before we go to the East, I really would love to hear your thoughts.
Do we have to go to the East?
No, we don't. We don't have to. We don't have to.
You guys have dissected the Leafs. Hell, I mean, I know you've picked the Leafs. I know, I just, anyway.
Doug, I want your opinion on something else in the West. Yeah, I want to know about Salt Lake City and Utah and Arizona leaving. And what have you been thinking watching Alex Marullo, Gary Bettman, and the whole situation? We haven't had yet.
What was that movie where they had all the crazy people in the frat house? What was that? What was the name of that?
Animal House?
Yeah, like what have I been watching here? I mean, I'm really disappointed for the Arizona fans. I really am disappointed for them. But come on, it's been a disaster for how long? And they're playing in a 4,500 seat arena. I actually saw pictures of the trailer where the Leafs were sitting, or who was it I watched their game the other night, and they were sitting in the trailer in their dressing room. And I guess it was Edmonton. And I'm thinking, whoa, like, please, let's end this fiasco in this building. And, and the only way they could pull it off was to tell them, well, we're going to let you back in the league in 5 years. Well, come on. I mean, enough already. And it's not the Arizona fans. It's not the Arizona media. It's the ownership challenges that have been there for eternity. The ownership has been a disaster. And in fairness to the owners, they have not made money 1 year since they left Winnipeg. Not 1 year did they turn a profit as a franchise. So it's time for it to end. And I think Salt Lake City, we go to Park City to ski a lot. I love Salt Lake City. I love Salt Lake City. I think it's going to be a great market. I really do. Now, the St. Louis Blues, this really ticks me off. This is the only thing that really ticks me off about Salt Lake City. When I went to St. Louis Blues training camp, their number 1 farm team was in Salt Lake City. And their number 2 team was in Johnstown Jets. And guess where I got sent? I'm with the Hanson brothers in Salt Lake City. They're in Johnstown. So anyway.
You're making up for it in retirement, I can tell you that.
I think it's time,
Okay,
anyway.
So let's start with the state of Florida, place that you know very well. And
wow.
And
This is
what
a
is
tough
going to
one.
happen out of a Tampa Bay Lightning and a Florida Panther series here? Like, who's the last man standing in this one?
Well, look, I'm very jaded in this prediction, and I'll tell you why. Paul Maurice needs one win to break my record for most playoff wins in Panther history.
Oh, boy.
One win is what he needs. Is there any way they can go out and 4 straight
With
and I
what,
can maintain
14?
it for another year?
It
I don't know what
always
it is,
comes.
but
It always comes back to you, doesn't it?
anyway, look, this is going to be a great series. You know what? I say Florida's going to win the series, and then I watched the Tampa Bay play the other night, and I'm telling you, there's fire in that group right now. And you know, I think it's going to be a great series. I think Florida wins it, but it wouldn't surprise me if Tampa Bay wins it. It would not surprise me.
I'll just lump in. Go ahead.
I just want to ask you about Kucherov and
My record? About my record?
No,
oh, I thought
no,
you wanted to talk about my record.
I want to talk about someone else besides you right now. Kucherov here, and I remember you talking about coaching in an all-star game with the likes of Mario and Ray Bourque and the greatest players in our history. And where yeah, of course. Where would Kucherov been, in that era in terms of, like, I'm watching him, Mac, and I said the other day, I think this guy's the best half wall guy I've ever seen in the history of the game. Am I that far off on that?
No, I think he's spectacular, and he's been almost that since day one. And it looks like he loves to play the game. And my understanding is this is a guy that's, you talk about Sid Crosby firing pucks against the wash machine in Cole Harbor. This guy is obsessed with being really good. His on-ice vision, you talk half wall, I talk everywhere. He finds people in the slot. He's got the vision and the hockey sense that is as good or better than anybody in the league. He's a good-sized guy. Traffic doesn't bother him. He goes to tough spots. I mean, to watch him find Point, Hedman, and Stamkos on the power play is a treat to watch. So, look, he's on a mission right now, and I would be a little nervous if I'm the Panthers. And look, there's going to be a lot of pressure. Cross-state rival. Panthers have had an exceptional season. They got a good team. Can they get to Bobrovsky? Is Vasilyev going to outplay Bobrovsky? There's some great matchups. Hedman. I mean, I'll tell you a guy that really has taken me by surprise is Forsland this year, the defenseman. He's made Ekblad into a defenseman. It's hard to believe. Ekblad #1 overall, and this Forsland guy has made him into a good defenseman. Do you believe that?
Shocked. So
yeah,
I didn't know
crazy.
you were that hard on Ekblad. Jeez.
Well,
no, I like Ekblad. I like Ekblad.
Yeah.
I like Ekblad, but this guy as a partner has taken Ekblad's game to another level. It really has.
I won't
and
even
it's been
ask
fun to watch.
the specifics of the other series. Just can the Capitals or the Islanders?
What about just one question? Who's the better coach? Cooper, Maurice?
Sound bites, quotes.
Maurice wins the sound. Well, no, they're both really
Looks
good.
good.
Oh, they're 1-2, Mac.
Yeah, they're right there. I love the sound bites, and you'd love to see Mo get a chance to advance. He goes to the finals last year. You'd like to see it. I don't need Cooper to win another cup, but look, it's going to be a hell of a series, boys. It really is.
All right, so then looking at any potential upsets, could the Capitals or the Islanders take down the Rangers or the Hurricanes? I lump them in because I'm expecting a quick no here.
Yeah, the Rangers will roll, I think. I think they're fine in that first series. I'll tell you what, Carolina concerned me a little bit. It's like rec league hockey there. We've got to play everybody. Everybody plays all 4 lines. We don't like to shorten the bench. We like to keep and their goaltending, if they ever have to go to Anderson or Rantanen, I mean, I'll shut the TV off if they have to go there. So look, they need goaltending like they haven't had in a long time. And they need the Russian kid, to get it done for them. I love Carolina. I love Brind'Amour. But you got to go into this playoff like you're you're a contender. You're a contender in this playoff, and there's no excuses for Carolina for me. None.
All right, we got to ask you about Toronto and Boston. Be very careful because we got a very sensitive Sammy McKee here, who's really had a hard week.
Oh my God! Listening to Wendel and you and Borny, I mean, he's on a high. McKee's gone out to celebrate. Where's he at the Ritz right now? Did he bolt and head to the Ritz to celebrate? So
He's here.
I know you're going to find it. Look, you love I love the setup of the Leafs forward group. Finally, I've been talking about this for 5 years. I didn't like their bottom six, and I finally like the setup where they've got, Domi, and with the big guy in Bertuzzi, and you move Marner and you move Nylander, and you got Bobby McMahon comes in with some grit. You've got some guys that look like they will play hard. So to me, this is not the same Boston team guys that have beaten them over the last few years. Coyle is their number one centerman. They're missing Bergeron. I mean, they're missing Krejci. They're missing who was the big guy that was number one overall of Hall. I mean, they're missing some good players, guys. This is not the same team. So to me, I like their blue line better, although it's not deep. I like their goaltending better, although they dropped the ball last year. So to me, the Leafs have a great chance to win this series. A great chance. And I think Wendel Clark hit the nail on the head. If guys will play hard at both ends of the rink and forgive the cuteness and play hard, I think Wendell hit it on the head. I think they've got a chance to win this series. I really do.
So what does viewing look like for Doug
Leafs
MacLean?
to win this series.
Oh, wow.
What?
I'm stunned.
I'm picking the Leafs.
What does viewing look like for you? You're going to hole up on Saturday? You're going to watch all the games, or you got stuff going on, Doug? What's the viewing plan?
I've been shut down with golf. I've been shut down. I had surgery this week, so I can't play for 2 weeks. It really ticks me off. And so you know what? I'm gonna watch games. I don't have the 6 screens in my basement like Kypreos and you guys have. I've got my little TV there, and I'll just watch as much as I can. I'll sip some wine. I'm not going to get uptight about it. I'm just going to relax and try to enjoy the game.
Awesome.
Because to me, the first round of the playoffs is what it's all about.
Yep.
To me, it's the best hockey we see all year. We see huge upsets. We see teams playing their tails off. We see underdogs. We see 8 seeds go in and have a chance to win the cup. I just love it. I love it.
Hey, before I let you go, have you talked to our good buddy Jeff Rimmer lately? I think he's mad at us. And it's your fault. You've shared maybe it was one too many personal stories about his toupee. I don't know.
I haven't talked to him, but I've certainly read a lot about him, and I've seen a lot of interviews by him, but I haven't talked to him. You know what? Here's the problem for me. I love Jeff Rimmer.
Yes, we do.
But here's my big worry. I live in Delray Beach. He tells people he lives in Delray, but he really lives in Boynton Beach, which is the next area over, a different area code. And it's like saying you live in Rosedale or King City, So here's my concern. If I buddy up to him now that he's retired, it's like he wanted to go to the beach last summer. So he says, can I park my car at your place and you give me a key to get over to the beach? And I said, yeah, we can do that. It's no problem. We'll give you a key. You can park your car and go over across to the beach. You can use our cabana if you want. And then he says, well, can we shower after? I said, seriously? So that's the problem. I'm nervous about if I buddy up too much that he's here all the time, it's going to cost me, and I'm just not prepared to do that yet.
I hope it costs you a ton. All right.
But I'm happy for him that he's got a bigger farewell than Danny Galvin and Foster Hewitt combined, and I'm proud of him. I'm proud of him. Next, he'll be going in the Hall of Fame, I'm sure.
Well, I hope we can't say we're as proud of you as you are of him. But thanks for joining with us and teeing up the start of the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Okay, here's the bottom line. Sammy McKee, get rid of this tape because I will never admit to a few of those picks.
Burn it.
Burned.
Done.
Burn the moment you leave. Thanks for joining
Take
us,
care.
Mac.
Hey,
What?
guys, thanks a million for having me on.
No, you're
it's
not
a great way
done.
to end. It's a great way to end my Friday. And am I under contract for the playoffs, or is this
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. You know what? We can't find anyone else on a Friday. You're it. Thanks for
Take
doing
care,
this.
guys.
All right.
Thanks, Mac.
Doug MacLean.
You just had to
Just
bring up
give
Rimmer.
me, just,
Poor Rimmer.
just give me a short answer.
No,
Why can't you just give me a short answer? Something quick and witty, and then we move on.
No.
Why does he have to go into this
listen.
big?
Not how he rolls, pal.
I'm going full Cooper here. Listen. The thoughts of Doug MacLean on Jeff Rimmer do not reflect Sam McKee on the Real Kyper and Bourne show. I love Jeff Rimmer, and so does he, but I'm not making fun of him.
We do.
Listen. We couldn't get Rimmer. Let's just say that.
We do.
Too
We love
much
him.
was said.
He's a big national star now.
No comment. No comment. All right, boys. So we're going to do game time here, but it's Friday. It's playoff time.
Oh. We're
Texts.
taking texts?
Texts.
We have lots
Texts.
of other stuff.
I know, but we want to mix in
Yes.
some texts.
Okay.
So if you're listening from one of our Canadian markets and you're excited about
What about the U.S.?
well, I mean, we're not on TV and
Oh, there's many ways
yeah, but I don't.
people can find us.
Are we on live in America? That would be news to me.
Let's pretend we are.
Okay, well, text us 590-590. I'll read some of them after the break. I just want to get them all in here so I can get them organized because, I don't like to be disorganized here.
Nope.
So text 590-590, your thoughts, takes, questions about the playoffs coming up or something else. And that's that. So there you go. And you want to do some game time?
Do it.
Now as I get my sheets here, it's game time. Presented by Bet365. Visit the app for latest odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. I spilled my coffee.
Odds on that were minus 150.
Oh, look, you got your jacket wet and it shrunk.
Oh my God, this is a disaster, boys. Disaster.
Do you want to go to break or do you
No,
want to?
we'll
All
do-
right,
we'll do it.
plow through.
We'll do. Well, it's not that
We are
bad.
so unprofessional right now.
All right. So, what do you guys want to look at for the futures for the series odds? See if any of them have changed at all.
Yep.
I'm just pulling them up here. Here's a good one for you guys. The most goals in series.
Yes.
You can bet on guys who are going to score the most in certain playoff series. If we let's start with the Boston Bruins and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Who do you think the favorite is in that series to score the most goals?
Easy. Austin, followed
Yes.
by Pasternak.
Correct. So both of those guys, Austin Matthews plus 175, David Pastrnak is plus 200, and the third favorite is William Nylander at plus 850.
Could do worse.
Well, he should be well rested. He took the month off.
Hey,
y'all.
But I mean, in fairness, he did.
So, I mean, plus you could do worse than that bet. He's been a playoff performer for the Leafs,
Yep.
and he's
Gonna get third line matchups.
Yep. So maybe not the worst thing to look at. Going down the list here, let's go to one of our other Canadian matchups. The Colorado Avalanche versus the Winnipeg Jets. The favorite, obviously, in that series to score the most goals.
Mac.
Nathan McKinnon at plus 200. Mikko Rantanen, second favorite, at plus 400. And the third favorite is Kyle Connor at plus 550, which to me is pretty interesting. He's a big-time goal threat for them. Gabe Flaherty, 12-1. Mike Scheifele, 14-1. And the last one I'll bring up is the Vancouver Canucks. And the favorite in that one to score the most goals is not a Vancouver Canuck.
So it's not Miller. So it's Philip Forsberg.
Correct. Plus 275. JT Miller comes in second at plus 550. Brock Besser, plus 650. Elias Pettersson, plus
Really?
750. Yep.
Pedersen's below Brock Besser.
Yep.
Yeah.
He scored less than him this year, not by a ton, but had less goals.
Wow.
And if this one's interesting to me too. Whoop, I lost it there for a second. The most road wins in a series. If you think that the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to win in 7 games, they're a
Excellent
good road team. Yeah, see, they're not giving you much value here. I'm looking at this. If you want to say that they're going to win over, 2.5 road games, it's minus 135. So they think that.
Wow.
Yeah. So they think that they're going to win on the road. a lot.
Okay.
So there you go. Well, there's also starting on the road. So there's
More games there. Yeah.
there you go. There's a couple quick ones for you. And that was Game Time, presented by Bet365. Visit the app for latest odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus, Ontario only. Please play responsibly. I have to clean up some coffee.
We got a coffee spill in
All right,
aisle 5.
we'll take a break here. Get yourself cleaned up, Sammy. And when we return, we'll get into our news and notes. We'll get into our texts. And we'll get predictions. I want a Conn Smythe winner out of you guys after the break. And, of course, crowning a Stanley Cup champion. That more on the eve of the Stanley Cup playoffs when Real Kyper and Bourne return. On the eve of the Stanley Cup playoffs, Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee. God bless you.
Thank you.
I've yet to sneeze on air in over 25 years. Quite a record.
So I had someone tell me
No,
if you're close to sneezing and you feel like you're going to like look at light or something that'll make you sneeze.
If I sneeze, I could knock that jersey off.
Are you a dad like
the
yell
hanger.
sneezer?
Yeah, I could scare you.
I do my best to tidy it up on camera.
Do you?
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Thank
Did you hit the sneeze button or is that a cough button?
I just forget to turn my mic on half the time.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so want to do a quick rundown again?
Of the series?
Yes.
Let's try to do it quickly and just give our picks.
Okay,
Yeah.
so first round, you got Dallas advancing.
I have Dallas.
All right.
You?
Which is, yes, I got Dallas.
Okay. All right,
You
we
got Vegas?
Sammy's in with a Vegas pick.
Are you all right? No.
You fried it with coffee.
Is it? Oh, there it
There he
is.
is. He's back.
I actually did
So
think
you
for a second.
think Dallas is going down?
I think Vegas can beat him.
Okay. All right. We've got Winnipeg over Colorado.
I have Winnipeg as well. Yes. Colorado for Sammy.
No, I will go Winnipeg. I'll go Winnipeg. Don't know how many
Yeah, I'm
games.
going to go Winnipeg.
But that'll be a war.
I'm surprised we're all doing Winnipeg.
Edmonton.
Edmonton 5.
I would like to get sexy and say the Kings, but they're just goaltending versus McDavid. I had this. No.
I've got one upset. I got Nashville over Vancouver.
Oh,
Yeah.
my God, Kip.
It's just a hunch.
Oh, my God. That
there
sound
has
is the
to be
seawall crumbling.
There just has to be an upset. There's somebody's got to go down in the first round.
In 2019, I think that was the year the Blues won all the wild card teams. All of them won their series. Like the NHL is weird. There's one every single year. It's a reasonable pick, but I just think Demko and the elite talent
Outside
in
of
Vancouver
that,
too good.
You mentioned it. We've got the Rangers. Nobody thinks Washington can upset the Rangers.
Nope.
Nobody really feels like the Islanders can upset Carolina.
Nope.
And Boston and Toronto's a pick 'em.
We both did Toronto. Sammy took Boston,
Ugh.
which really happened in the first hour.
And Tampa, Florida's kind of a pick 'em too.
Everyone's doing the Tampa's a sexy upset, whatever. I got Florida.
Okay.
You taking a pick, though? I need a pick for Tampa, Florida.
I've got Florida.
You do? Okay.
I'm not bailing on Florida.
I'll take Tampa.
Okay.
I'll take Tampa. I'll go with I'll be sexy.
All
I'll
right.
take the sexy matchup.
All right, then. There you have it.
Do you want to do a conference final or do you want to go straight to a Stanley Cup final?
Conference finals, good. Stanley Cup final. Give me your Stanley Cup.
Oh, conference final. Give me a chance to.
Okay, go ahead.
No,
Go ahead.
but I can't say the Leafs because I took
You already
Boston.
picked them to lose?
Dallas, Edmonton in the West.
Dallas, Edmonton, the West for you. Give me Winnipeg, Edmonton.
Wow.
Whoa, Mr. Johnny
That-
Canuck.
oh, my. Did you hear that? That's everybody celebrating in the Rogers building.
Doodle-doo.
I'm going to go ahead and reveal my all-star picks for goaltender on my
Hold on.
ballot. Okay, I'm just going to tell you, two of those guys, Hellebuck and what's his name? Demko. They're on there. I like the goalies, is my point.
No. So who'd you say in the conference final?
I said Edmonton, Winnipeg, and then I
Yes.
messed up by saying the wrong goalies.
So do you want Winnipeg?
No, I want Winnipeg, Edmonton. Sticking with Winnipeg, Edmonton.
Winnipeg,
Ignore the
Edmonton.
goalies thing I just said.
Okay. So,
Poor execution.
okay. All right. Fair enough.
Vegas, Edmonton for
Okay.
the conference final for me.
Ooh, I love that one.
Thank
And
you.
in the East,
In the East, Florida, Carolina.
yeah, okay. I'll go with that one.
Tampa, New York.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Stanley Cup final.
Carolina, Edmonton.
New York, Vegas.
Oh, that's a fun one.
Dallas, Florida.
These are fun.
Dallas, Florida. The sound of the you just heard was Rogers not recording. Whatever the opposite of the.
No one's checking that one in.
Well, I don't think it's any sexier that I think the Stanley Cup champion is going to be the Carolina Hurricanes.
Wow.
New York Rangers.
Dallas Stars. Give me.
Sticking with your
I am.
preseason
I'm going to
pick.
stick with Dallas.
I have no idea. I just
Yeah, of
I
course.
came up with that off the top of my head. I have no clue. Zero research.
But listen to our show.
They got the best. They got the best goalie probably.
Right.
So
I just said Demko starting for Edmonton. So.
Clueless.
we got work to do here.
It's a clueless show.
Yeah.
Conn Smythe winner.
just Durkin.
If you think about who has to play well and you win the Stanley Cup and you don't have any stars, Freddie Anderson? Freddie Anderson.
Wow.
Oh.
You have to go Freddie.
Morning.
You do.
Morning, why are you doing this to me?
Svechnikov is kind of your only other pick. Slavin?
Hey, we'll lose Sammy forever if Freddie Anderson is the Conn Smythe winner. We'll lose him. He will not be back in the fall.
Well, that's a different time from now, but maybe taking a few days off.
Just importing crates of cigarettes.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm going with Rupe Hintz.
Rupe Hintz.
If you're picking Dallas, it's a great pick. I
mean,
have him on my
Ottinger to me
Selke
would be
ballot.
Ottinger would be the one. to me. I do love Rupe Hintz, though. Every time I watch the Stars, he is
a mule.
He's actually the most underrated guy in the league. When people
great vote.
He's what, everyone's like, it's Barkov.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody has a million conversations about how great he is all the time. To me, it's Rupe Hintz is actually the most underrated.
Yeah, like I said, he's on my Selke ballot. He's fast. He scores. He's just in Dallas.
Yeah. North-South guy.
All right. Anything around the league interests you?
Lots of things around the league interest me.
Should have gone Edmonton in the final.
Should have?
Yeah. Edmonton Rangers will be good in the final. That'd be fun.
That would be fun.
Anyways.
Islanders fans' nightmare. You want to do Pat Kane? You want to do the Ottawa Senators? You want to do
Well, what's the latest on Pat
Utah?
Kane? Now the sense is Detroit doesn't want to make a commitment to him.
Sounds like he was talking in past tense about his time in Detroit. Sounds like Yzerman didn't want to do a longer-term deal. Seems like that may be the end for him in Detroit, which I didn't see coming.
Yeah, listen.
Which makes me think
I'm
Buffalo's
not
another
thrilled
option.
to see him bounce around from team to team. He's
No.
just I don't like
it's
that.
the saddest part of any Hall of Famer's career, where you're like, oh yeah, who? Well,
And
Brett Favre's a bad
15 years
example,
from
but,
now, it's like, was he a Detroit Red Wing?
Right.
Do you remember him in that uniform?
Remember Brett Hull wearing a Coyotes jersey?
But I see Rick Tocchet in like a Boston Bruin jersey, and I'm like, when did that happen?
Right. Yeah, there's all these like tail end of the career weird jerseys.
That's a great summer topic.
Mm-hmm.
Which guy looked the weirdest in their jersey? Like Emmett Smith on the Arizona Cardinals, or like
I gotta
Bobby Orr in a Blackhawks jersey.
I got to look twice at Gretzky in a St. Louis Blue uniform, and I played against them in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And those are the worst St. Louis Blues jerseys they've had. Like they have had some really good ones, but those ones were not great.
But yeah, Pat Kane probably going somewhere else. Speaking of probably going somewhere else, Chychrun.
Yeah, Steve Stais addressed the media today as the general manager and was asked about Chychrun's future, and he avoided it like the plague.
He didn't say, yeah, he's under contract. We're excited to have him back. Here we go.
He worked around the edges. That's all, which suggests to me that he's as good as gone.
We know they have to do big things. He is one of their many talented left shot D.
There's always a sense that if you want the guy back, that's probably the first thing. We'd love to have him back. We can hope to sit with his agent and work something out. Nothing like that.
Is he be a Toronto Maple Leaf or what?
I would love him on the Leafs, but left. They got enough left guys.
Yeah.
They need a right.
The good left guys would help, though.
Well, yeah, it's an awesome point by you, but if they're like in the offseason, I don't really want to go ahead and look at that. But if the Leafs are making a big addition to the D-core in the offseason, you hope it's the right headshot.
I don't know. Do we need to say anything about Alex Morello with Commissioner Bettman today?
Well, I mean,
Someone asked him about.
Do you want to hear
paying bills?
Do you want to hear that? Oh, we have a clip. If we want to play it,
I don't know.
We only got
you
10
tell me.
minutes left. Let's not. Let's
it's
not.
the playoffs.
Yeah, let's see. We got 10 minutes left. He said, yeah, I always pay my bills.
Alex
They
Scram
probably
beat
don't.
it.
Yeah, beat it.
Well,
Scram beat it.
Okay, one more.
Do you guys want to
Just one more. One more. Kyle Dubas joining Team Canada.
Sammy?
Right?
I didn't see
Bart Simpson
Missed that
meme?
one. Missed that one.
Did you?
Sammy sent the meme. I pretend I do not see it.
Did he ask his family first?
Why?
So you can't enjoy your favorite thing on earth, which is Team Canada hockey. It truly is your favorite thing.
He has a spell over everyone. He's tricked everyone. Like, why? They have all these guys there. It's like, let's call in the guy. It's like,
I know, I
why?
know.
He built the team that went to the division final last year.
Yeah, great.
Okay, we're done news and notes. What do you got?
First text I have is from my
You're getting texts too?
Yeah, from my wife.
Oh boy, it's about my jacket.
No,
Okay,
but
thank
well, it
God.
is. It
Oh,
says
no.
the
I don't
text
get any
is
text.
you guys should wear blazers all the time. That's my text. You can say that I think you all look very sharp and the blazers should stay.
The only problem with this one is I haven't exposed my arms yet, and that's
That's a short sleeve.
There's flood pants and there's a flood jacket. If Sammy's can do a handstand in a flood right now,
But if the Leafs win on Saturday, you're seeing it on Monday. So
coming back.
I love that.
Thank you.
Which goalie is playing for the Leafs tomorrow? My name is Jack. I'm a 10-year-old goalie for the Oakville Rangers. A 10-year-old texted our show asking who's playing for the Leafs.
Jack?
Go get him.
I think it's Ilya Samsonov would be the answer
It
to that
is
question.
Ilya Samsonov. And tell your parents you shouldn't have a phone yet.
There you go. So a
Yes.
goalie.
I know, it's
You
awesome.
cares
We
the
love
most.
you. Appreciate you listening.
And-
Honestly,
and
it's very
should he
cool.
still be in school?
He's good now.
What
He's
time
good.
is it?
It's 5. It's 5:45.
Oh, then
Kim.
you're still in detention.
That was your experience.
What are the chances that Pierre-Luc Dubois can man up and be a nightmare matchup for the Oilers in the first round? Jay from the West
I
Coast.
just remember watching him in the bubble
Me too.
and like taking over. And that was head to head against Matthews and looking like he's going to be this stud.
Buddy, the Kings just signed him to 8.5 by 8. They obviously, a lot of people think he's a stud.
So a lot of guys,
Fourth line.
a lot of guys can erase a bad 6 months with a great playoff. He has to be one of those guys.
Yeah, you're right. And that's one of the only ways you can see LA having a role in that series is, can he get under some guy's skin, score some goals and matter?
I think there's a lot of pressure on Rob Blake here too in this series.
Think so?
Yeah.
Think the rebuild is kind of at the point where expectations have arrived?
Listen,
God, you want more from Pierre-Luc Dubois. I looked at his you looked at his numbers this year?
it's just
38 points or something.
40 points in 82 games, 16 goals, -9.
that signing was supposed to get you further
Over the hump.
than one round.
Yeah, that's a lot of money for him.
Lots of pressure.
Let me pull up my other text here. This is an interesting one. Okay. Hey there. Big fan of the show.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do you think Bertuzzi will be hesitant to get greasy against his former team in Boston?
That guy would.
I can't say no fast enough.
No, I know. There's the greasiest guy. No, you would grease anyone.
The lasting memory.
He wasn't there that long.
The lasting memory for a lot of Leaf fans is earlier this season when Liljegren was tripped into the boards by Brad Marchand, which was
he punch-sized. Was it Witherspoon?
no, this was way earlier in the season.
Okay.
And-
November.
Yeah.
And when Marchand skated over the bench,
He had a chuckle, did
he
he?
was
or something?
smiling.
Yeah.
And much like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. loves to smile in big spots.
Yeah.
And
I'm not worried about that for 1 second.
No.
Okay.
Who was it on Boston that Bertuzzi beat the living?
Witherspoon.
Yeah.
Beat him up bad.
He made him wear some knuckles.
few Sudbury uppercuts there. I guess we kind of answered this question, but we can do it again. Who do you think has the most potential to pull off an upset? You think obviously it's the Nashville Predators.
Is Vegas an upset over Dallas?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, betting odds.
I do have it. Yeah, I do. I have that as an upset.
You think it's a possibility?
I think Dallas
who you just
is
picked
the
to win the cup?
deepest team right now
Yeah.
from top to bottom. Who's their third line centerman? That Wyatt Johnson?
Yeah.
32 goals.
Yeah.
Stud.
Come on.
They got a lot of guys that are you call them underrated.
But they don't have like the one superstar.
No.
And Sagan and Ben are past that label,
Yeah. Pavelski's past that.
but they got a lot of very good players that know how to win, I think.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Thomas
Maybe they
Harley come through.
Maybe they don't yet. Well, that's what the playoffs are for.
Could Elias Lindholm be the X factor for the Canucks in the playoffs? Cheers from Vancouver.
Absolutely. I think he tipped one in last night, if I'm not mistaken. I do feel
He's
like
so talented.
yeah, like he's got a lot of tools. He's smart, and in a series like this, you could see all the focus being on Pettersson and being on Miller and Lindholm being the guy who chips in.
Listen, it becomes a very hard league to score goals. And the only thing I can tell you is even if you go back to Austin and all the top 50 goal scorers, just go see the amount of goals that they scored against non-playoff teams. It's a big number. And then once you get into these teams that are top 16, they know how to play defense. They know how to shut down. They know how to take time and space away. And you lose that rate of return of scoring in the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
So, these guys, they're going to have to dig themselves out of those tight spaces, and Petey's going to have to be one of them.
Well, and the big thing is that it gets harder for a particular set of guys, too, right? The scorers are keyed on. For everyone else, it might be a little similar, but not for the big dogs.
This is a great way to end our texts and head into the weekend with the Toronto Maple Leafs. James from Milton. When the Leafs sweep the Boston Bruins, will other teams be nervous? Let's go!
Way to derail our national hour with that one.
I mean, they put me here.
It's not your fault. I am who I am.
We got a couple suggestions for wardrobe. Somebody told me I look like Kramer, so that's good.
You do have a little Kramer.
You know that I was Kramer for Halloween like 4 straight years in high school?
Really?
Yeah, every year I was just Kramer. I had like
and
a
what
white,
did you do? Just trip over
I
everybody?
had a white sport coat and wore like a Hawaiian shirt and just had my hair up and Kramer every year.
Well, your hair's up already now.
Yeah,
it's
I
not
know.
really a costume.
I know. All right, boys.
All right. No, not one more.
Not
Anything
really.
interesting at all on a Friday?
Not really.
No?
No.
All right, then.
All right. Any lasting
Islanders are going to get
of playoffs? Your Islanders have a
they
chance
get
at all?
Dobson back.
Okay, Varlamov's starting.
Yes, Varlamov's going to start. I mean,
What happened?
Sorokin last year was a Vezina finalist, and when things turned around, Varlamov was in the net. I think 9 of the last 10 games, he's been above a .900 save percentage. He's had some shutouts. He's been unbelievable. So you start him, you got to go to Sorokin off the bench. You're in a pretty good spot.
How much credit does Patrick Waugh get? Because how many times did we think they were dead in the water?
Yeah,
during the
he
regular
deserves
season?
a ton. And you know what else he deserves a ton for is when it started to go south, he didn't turn on them in the media and say, we blew it. We had, he was...
Yeah, remember we played that clip after they lost bad, and he was like, I thought we
weren't that
played
bad."
great. I
Yeah.
thought we played great. That's a good point. He
kinda-
never went full wah.
No, he hung in there with them, and they rewarded him for that. So I think he deserves... Your boy that you were going to hire for the Ottawa Senators is looking like a pretty good coach.
Yeah.
And now who are they going to hire?
I don't know. And I think the media were asking about how if he should be bilingual or not. I think I heard that question today. And I'm like...
Let's not do that. Let's
But
just...
it was
coach
no.
well.
Staios gave the right answer. Like first and foremost is, who's qualified and who's
Yeah.
going to give us the best chance to win. If it happens to be bilingual, then that may check a box. But
That would help. Sure,
holy
that'd be a perk.
moly, would Patrick Avoie been great there?
Yeah. Well, I saw Dean Everson's name mentioned. I don't know. Maybe
All
it'd be
right.
Sammy.
That's it for us this week. Final Friday, before it all begins for real tomorrow.
We have so much to talk about on Monday. Can't wait.
I know.
Can't wait. I think you should wear that jacket right through the weekend.
Oh, if they win on Saturday night, I'll be wearing it on Monday. That's a promise.
All right, our thanks today to Leaf legend Wendel Clark in our Leaf Hour, and then Doug MacLean on Off the Rails Friday. Enjoy your start to the Stanley Cup playoffs, and we're going to be here right there with you on the Real Kyper and Bourne Show. We're back on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody.